In May of 1980, the worst serial killing spree in Toledo started. The Cook brothers terrorized young couples.
Yeah, parents warned their teens not to be out after dark. During this period, at least 9 people at the hands of the Cooks were killed. In 2018, Nathaniel Cook was paroled, and now his older brother Anthony is set to have a parole hearing. And this is raising the possibility of the brothers being reunited in their hometown.
Lead investigator Brian Duggar has the story.
I would tell him I hope he rots in hell.
He is somebody that probably should stay in jail until his last breath.
This guy will never stop killing.
This guy is Anthony Cook, likely the most prolific serial killer in Toledo history. By the time police caught him in 1981, Anthony had killed 9 people, possibly many more. For more than a year, he and his brother, Nathaniel, terrorized the streets of Toledo.
He's the worst individual, human being I've ever seen, talked to, known, investigated. He's the worst.
I've been doing this job for 48 years. You know, I've not seen too many that are worse than Anthony Cook.
And on December 5th, the parole board could return him to his hometown.
We didn't have the death penalty back then, so they didn't get the death. He didn't get the death penalty. We didn't have life without parole then, so he didn't get life without parole. So he got a sentence that ended with life, but that it had a fixed amount of years, and so that allows him to be eligible for parole. It doesn't mean he'll get parole.
Earlier this month, Bates and family members met with parole board representatives. Every 10 years, a scab is pulled off. Cook has a hearing. But this time, it felt different for Steve Moulton, the brother of Scott Moulton, who was killed by Cook in 1981.
Everything that we learned up till the other day was Anthony Cook is in jail for the rest of his life, period. You know these parole hearings are going to come up because it's his right, but what we learned is that that's not 100% accurate.
Beginning in May of 1980, Anthony and Nathaniel Cook stalked couples who dared to be outside after dark.
He used different weapons to kill the people each time, trying to throw us off. Very careful about their fingerprints and that kind of thing, because we did have fingerprints back then, but we didn't have any DNA or anything we could work with.
Anthony abducted Scott Moulton and his friend Denise Sikowski in March 1981. They were sitting in their car at an Oregon apartment. Anthony Cook raped Denise and shot them both.
I can't even fathom what my parents went through. To be, they were in a group, people are in PTA and they're sports boosters, Imagine yourself being in a group called Parents of Murdered Children.
Every murder was vicious, none more so than the killing of Dawn Backus. Anthony scooped up the 12-year-old girl off a street near Bancroft. He and Anthony took her to the abandoned State Theater, raped her, and killed her.
Now, it don't get much worse than that with a little 12-year-old. Pick her up off the street and to do that to her. So they were the most cold-blooded, especially Tony, of all. I've handled thousands. I've had a lot of murders, brutal murders. I've never seen anything like that. And, I couldn't sleep at night. I got to the point where I hated to go to work when I was working on the series because I knew it was going to be another one.
Nathaniel then stopped killing. Anthony didn't, taking at least 6 more lives without his brother. The spree stopped in the fall of 1981. Anthony Cook found Lisa Sawicki and Todd Sabo inside a van near the Ottawa Hills police station. He attacked and tied them up, but Todd got away and freed Leslie. She ran to a nearby apartment and called her father, Peter.
The double shooting took place here, just a quarter of a mile from the Ottawa Hills Police Department. In fact, the village police were one of the first notified about the attempted rape.
Peter Sawicki arrived before police, and Anthony shot and killed him, leaving Todd shot and wounded.
There was a small tree, and he pointed out to me a brown paper bag, and he said that the weapon that killed Mr. Sawicki was in that bag.
Police arrested Cook a month later after an informant reached out to former Detective Frank Stiles. who had a surprising conversation with a serial killer at the police station.
And he says, what do you think? He said, with all your experience, do you think that a guy that could do this kind of thing would ever be able to get out on parole?
I said, hurry, we have to call the police. I said, this man tried to rape me.
I know we got down to the ground. I can't recall exactly how we did.
In March of 1982, with Leslie and Todd testifying, a jury convicted Cook of Sawicki's murder. Shockingly, Anthony took the stand.
Did you see this on morning September 18, 1981?
Did I see it the morning of September 18, 1981?
Yes.
Yes.
Where'd you see it at?
I seen it in my car.
You saw this in your car?
Yes.
What was it doing in your car?
We shot Sawicki.
Pardon?
I had shot Peter Sawicki.
For more than 15 years, police didn't know Cook's partner in his early crimes until Bates suggested using DNA. She learned about it at a conference where the Sam Shepard case was discussed.
I went to bed, and I tell you what, trite as it sounds, I woke up, it was 3 in the morning, and I just was wide awake, and I was like, wow, if they can do this in Cleveland with Sam Shepard, we can do this with the Cooks.
DNA from a previous rape matched Anthony, and it also matched his younger brother, Nathaniel. The Cooks cut a deal. Would tell your victims, Nathaniel gets out in 20 years.
I picked up a pipe and hit her with the pipe. She fell.
On April 3rd, 2000, the brothers gave chilling details about their crimes.
If I tied anybody up, I always took the bindings away.
He would talk just like you and I are talking. Very cool, collect, cold, show no emotion. You know, he was a psychopathic killer. You know, he didn't have any feeling, you know, about killing. He enjoyed it. Tony Cook enjoys killing.
In 2018, Nathaniel Cook walked free. He lives in Toledo in the shadow of the old West End Academy.
You think, oh, 20 years, that's a really long time. He's going away. We'll never have to think about this again. And then all of a sudden, 20 years is up. And now he's coming home. It was very hard for them. It's hard for me. So we keep the pictures on the wall in the office so that we remember that we never forget.
Nathaniel's big brother could soon join him on the outside.
It would be ludicrous. It would break the barrier of common sense. And from that point of view now, I can't see him getting out.
He's just a cold-blooded murderer. If they would let him out on parole, it wouldn't be any time hardly he would kill somebody. There's not a question in my mind.
What's your message to the community? Is he going to get out?
Well, my message is, let's hope not. I don't think so. And it's everything that I believe. I've been doing this job for 48 years. You know, I've not seen too many that are worse than Anthony Cook. And those people are still locked up. And I think he probably will be as well. I'm fairly confident that that's what will happen.
If you could tell Anthony Cook anything, what would you tell him?
I would tell him I hope he rots in hell. He's going to pay for his crimes one way or another, and if he feels like he's paid for him now, wait till the next life.
Wow, there is so much more to this story. That is why we have put together an hour-long program on WTOL 11 and also our YouTube channel.
And if you are outraged or even frightened by the thought of Anthony Cook being released, we have an address on WTOL.com to write to the parole board.
I do want to mention before we go any further, this is one of those periods. I grew up here in Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. I remember as a child these frightening moments for families, for parents, as this traveled through the news. There was also another, following the Cook brothers, believe it or not, there was another serial killer who worked around 6 different states, including the Toledo area. Alton Coleman and Deborah Brown went on a massive killing spree around 6 states. So there were these pockets of moments throughout our history here in Northwest Ohio where these evil people lurked. It's amazing.
I think evil is a good word to use too. And I put myself in the shoes here for a minute during Duggar's story of being a young woman and listening to these other women about being sexually assaulted. I can't imagine what you guys went through.
And it's amazing as well. You think about Julia Bates being Lucas County prosecutor for as many years as she has been in that position, and to see and know the law as best as she does, and think to herself that, you know, the rite of passage on this one could be coming up, and something she doesn't want to see happen.
No, I think there's a lot of people too. Yeah, incredible reporting by Brian Duggar.
By the way, we do want to point out, once again, check out WTOL 11 Plus for much more on this story.